Hey guys, this is Marcella, aka PetiteGreek. I'm here with Dallas Robinson, a serial entrepreneur, inventor, and adventurer.
That's right.
This is their stories told. And Dallas, thanks for being here.
Yeah,
appreciate you talking to me.
Absolutely.
So we're going to talk about a little bit today with Dallas about a product that got him on Shark Tank with Mark Cuban investing, his career as an entrepreneur, as well as what he's up to today. So let's just get into it.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur, inventor?
I always wanted to do my own thing. I always, from a young age, from about 14, 15 years old, I always wanted to do my own thing, and I started as small as a lawn mowing business. You know, I wanted to earn my own money. I wanted to go out and do my own thing, and it started as easy as that. So I started doing that, getting more and more clients. It got pretty big, and then I started to work with my dad in his company. I saw him doing his own thing. And so I think it's kind of always been in my family, it's been around me, and I've seen people do it and be successful at it.
Right.
And it's always been in me to just want to go out there and create.
Awesome. It's very cool. So you obviously had these passions when you were younger because you've been around it for a long time, it sounds like, and everyone else around you. So in a nutshell, tell me about your story. Tell me about your product, how you got on Shark Tank, and where you are now.
So the idea for Kiss Sticks Lip Balm is what it is. The idea came when I was in high school. I did a lot of outdoor sports. I did wakeboarding, I did motocross. My lips would get dry and chapped all the time, just horrible. And then I'd have a problem the next weekend. So I'd be worried, you know, if I got lucky enough to get my date to kiss me,
Yes.
you know, I've got chapped lips, I'll be the talk of the school. You never want a bad kiss, it gets everywhere.
That's so true.
So I thought, how cool would it be to have a lip balm? That was fantastic. I tried all the lip balms out there. Either they tasted gross or very medicated, or they worked and they tasted horrible, or they tasted good, but they were made for like 6-year-old girls, you know? So
Bonnie
you can't
Bell.
be caught with one of those. And so I thought, how cool would it be to have both? A really great tasting, great formulation, but then have this novelty factor that you give one to your date, you take the other, and when you kiss, it's this experience. It's this mix of flavor and fragrance and everything that comes together and creates a new flavor on contact. And so that's when the idea was first. I thought about it a lot in high school. I told all my buddies about it. You know, everybody's like, yeah, we should totally do that. But you're in high school, nobody knows how to do anything like that. Or I wasn't motivated to do anything like that in high school.
Right.
And so I got into college, and I was in a business presentations class, and we had to do a whole presentation on a business. So I decided to create Kiss Sticks as if it was a business.
Oh, wow.
So I did an hour-long presentation for our final of that class and presented it as if it was a real thing. And everyone went nuts in the class. Everybody was like, can we buy this stuff?
Wow.
Where can we get this? And the professor came to me afterwards and held me after, and I thought I was in trouble for something. You know, I thought I pushed it too far, so I did something.
Yes.
But he talked about, he's like, are you seriously gonna do this? He said, I've seen years and years, I've been teaching here and seen hundreds of these presentations, but this is scalable. Like, this is actually something that could work. And he's like, if you're interested, I'd be willing to invest in this.
Wow.
And so right there,
that's incredible.
I decided I didn't take any of his money, but it pushed me mentally past that.
Yep.
From it's an idea and it's a fun, novel concept to this is a real business. I'm going to try it.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal, Dallas. So it was a real business now, and Shark Tank, of course, came about. Tell me about that experience, and with Mark Cuban investing, I mean, what went through your head?
So shortly after the kind of college class experience, I decided to start it as a company. I started researching and finding out chemists and how to put lip balm formulation together, and a lot of research went into it. And then it took me about 6 months to get an actual formulation that I loved. And then I realized, you know, I gotta buy inventory. I have no money. I drained my savings account at this point, and then asked my parents for $5,000. So they were cool enough to be like, I have no idea what you're doing. You're crazy, but here's $5,000. Good luck.
That's awesome.
So I bought my first inventory, sold through it fairly quickly, just selling it at college. They let us set up in the hallway. We're like selling literally in the hallway of college. And then and we set up everywhere else, everywhere that we possibly could figure out where to peddle this stuff, we were selling it. And it sold out pretty quickly, we bought more inventory. And that sold out pretty quickly, we bought more inventory. And so it kind of started like that. And but we realized really quickly it wasn't, you have to sell so much lip balm. I mean, you have to sell millions and millions of units to make it a profitable venture. So we knew we had no money for advertising at this point. We were off loans from friends and family. And we needed to get out there. We were in Salt Lake City. Some people knew about us, you know. In Orem, Provo, where our college is, some people knew about us. But that's it. We were local at best, and we needed to be national.
Right.
So we thought about all the different ways you could do that and how we could do it on a budget. And we thought reality TV, you know?
Perfect, of course, yeah, what's better?
As these young entrepreneurs, nobody could tell us no.
Exactly.
We didn't know the stats at that point, but the stats were over 60,000 people tried out for Shark Tank.
Wow.
And 100 get to film, and like 60 got to be on the show.
Oh my gosh.
And so we had no idea, so we were just gonna try it.
Yeah.
So we showed up, we went to Dallas, Texas to open casting calls. We stood in line for like 3 hours. It was like American Idol for business.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
You know, you're standing there with all sorts of crazy things. And hours later, we got the opportunity to pitch, and we just pitched our guts out. We tried to be different. We showed up there. Everyone was in suit and tie and looking sharp.
Yeah.
And that's how we showed up. So we took back off.
Yeah.
And we got rid of it all. We said, you know what? We got to be different. We got to stand out.
Yeah.
So we're college kids. You know, let's go put on our Kiss Sticks t-shirts.
Cool.
Let's put on a button-up. Let's put on our jeans and our bright green and blue Chuck Taylors. You know, like let's stand out. Let's, like, who are we?
Yeah.
So we go back. We pitch the casting director. We get up there. We rip off our button-up shirts, and we've got our Kiss Sticks, you know, logo right there,
awesome.
and just pitched our guts out. They loved it. Luckily, we had very few sales at this point. We had about $80,000 in sales within. It had been maybe 6 months since starting, but they liked the idea.
Yeah.
They thought it was going to be good for TV, which it's a fun, novel concept.
Yep.
And they several months later, they called us and let us on the show.
Oh my gosh, that's phenomenal. So when that happened, in Mark Cuban's saying, I mean, I will invest, what went through your head? Like,
I really wanted.
And it was your first choice, I guess.
For me, it was Mark Cuban or Damon John.
Right.
Were the two people that had retail. Mark didn't have retail experience, but he has experience in pretty much everything. He's just amazing businessman.
Yes.
And Damon has specific retail experience, which is what we lacked and what we needed. I mean, any of them would have been great.
Yeah.
We were on there we were young kids, me and my buddy from college.
Yeah.
We needed help. We needed some coaching. We needed mentoring. Mm-hmm. And so I went in with the attitude of, if I can get a deal, I'm taking it.
Sure.
I don't care what percentage of the company it is.
Yeah, good
a lot
for
of
you.
people say, you know, oh, was it worth giving up? We gave up 40% of our company.
Okay.
And to me, absolutely. I would have given 90% to learn the things that I've learned in the last 5 years from Mark Cuban and his team.
Agree.
So I was so excited that he gave us an offer.
Sure.
I think we were able to eloquently give our pitch, and we had our numbers down, and we had a good business plan, and he took a chance on us. And you know, he's been fantastic for doing that. We're a very small company in his portfolio, but he still gives us the time of day. He still helps us out, and it's been incredible.
That's so great. What an amazing experience for you, especially started out in the gate, you know?
Yeah.
That's so great. So tell me about one job in your past that you've had prior to all this that's been a big impact that you've been able to carry on to where you are today.
I think there's been a few times. There's been a sales job. I worked with my dad. I mentioned that he has a company that sells tires.
Okay.
Large tires for backhoes and loaders and commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And so I got into outside sales with him. And selling to people who buy tires is extremely difficult. It's a certain type of person. It's a certain type of mentality. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different experience. And I learned sales tactics.
Right.
I learned how to get out there, how to talk to people, how to network with people, how to meet the right people. And I think that was really influential because you're always selling. No matter what you're doing, you're always selling.
Sure.
And that was huge. And then the other one was kind of a different experience, but during Kiss Sticks, we had $0, and I had quit my job as a salesperson for my dad and decided to do Kiss Sticks full time. Well, a couple months after that, it wasn't bringing enough money in. I had a little brand new baby, and my wife was, you know, stressed out, and we're like, this isn't working. We weren't selling enough units, and so we decided to. Both my business partner and I decided to get a job at Winco at nighttime, stocking the shelves. Yeah. And so we would work Kiss Sticks during the day, and we'd stock shelves at night. And it really gave me, even though it was horrible, right? It was a horrible job, but it gave me perspective. Yeah. And it it got that ingrained, that hard work and the type of grit that you have to do as an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
That you have to be able to make it successful.
That's awesome. That's great. So who inspires you?
You know, I'm inspired by a lot of people. I'm inspired by anyone in the business world that is out there creating and making something happen. I love to see people whose stories are just take it from kind of the rags to riches stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I not a lot of big names inspire me, but just people like kind of like the people that you see on Shark Tank.
Right.
You know, people that are, it's like these smaller stories of people who take their dreams, that they go after them, and they don't let anything stop them, and they make them a reality. Those things are the most inspiring to me.
That's awesome. That's great. So what do you think is most surprising about starting your own business? What surprises you most?
I think the biggest shocker is how much actual work it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you see the idea of owning a business is exciting. It's,
sure.
you know, I make my own hours.
Right.
And I love the saying of entrepreneurs are the only ones who quit a 40-hour-a-week job to get an 80-hour or a 120-hour-a-week job, right?
Absolutely,
They're the only ones crazy enough to do that. But it's so true. It's so true because you're working, you never leave the job. You always go home, it goes with you. You go on vacation, it goes with you.
Absolutely.
And I think that was a little bit of a surprise to me, where I was used to a sales job where I would get in my company truck, I would go all day long, and I'd come home and I kind of checked it there.
Sure.
But not so in entrepreneurship. It's always with you. Somebody always needs something, somebody always is calling, and you have to out hustle and out grind everybody else.
It's true.
And everybody's Mark Cuban always says, you know, you have to work like somebody's trying to take it away from you 24 hours a day.
I love that.
I think that's so true.
That is so true. Actually, one of my, when I worked in the ad agency business, the principal of the agency had said, the second you get that new client is the second you start losing it.
Yeah.
So it's
Absolutely.
great. It's a great mentality. Yeah, that's great. So what gets you out of bed? What gets you fired up about what you're doing now or just entrepreneurship?
I think the idea of what's next. I always think of, you know, what product can I come out with next? What line can I come out with next? What brand? I love working on a brand. I love taking something from an idea and turning it into have an image, to have a look and a feel, and people are excited about it, and then see people talking about it on social media.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that part gets me excited. So I'm always thinking of, you know, what's next and trying to make those partnerships to be able to make the coolest and biggest kind of next thing, whether that's a bunch of small little brands and companies, or if we hit one of these out of the park and it really goes big, then fantastic. But it's always keeping that creative process going.
Cool. So what would you have told yourself, or what would you tell yourself 10 years ago? What advice would you give yourself?
I would have started earlier. I would have not messed around as much in high school and the first 2.5 years of college.
Sure.
I would have got to it. I would have got to it faster.
Yeah.
And I can't imagine if I could fast forward 3 years, you know, if I would have got 3 years back.
Right.
And not screwing around.
Sure.
You know?
I know. I guess if we knew what we do, you know, back then, what we knew today, you're right. We wouldn't have screwed around, but you know, we're young.
Yeah, exactly. You're young and having a good time. You got to.
Absolutely.
I see some of these young kids now that are getting involved in programs in high school and getting involved in entrepreneurship and business programs. I speak to a lot of those.
Oh, good for you.
I go out and talk to them, and it's inspiring to see these younger kids. And I think about what I was thinking about them when I was 15, 16, 17 years old, and it was had nothing to do with business.
No, not at all.
So I'm inspired by those type of people, and I think, you know, our country has a lot of a great potential because these kids, there's a great group of kids growing up that have huge aspirations and goals.
So true. So true. And with social media, I mean, there's so much reach that you can have now.
For very inexpensive.
Yes,
which
exactly.
Is cool.
So it's very, very exciting. So how do you push through challenges or obstacles in your business? What is it that, you know, roadblocks that?
You know, I think the best way to push through, I've found, is I like to have 3 people surrounding me at all times. I heard a quote that stuck with me for a long time, that's you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
That is a great quote.
I really like that.
Yeah.
And then it goes on to say later in that article, it says you always should have 3 people around you. You should have somebody who's mentoring you, somebody who's on your same level that can be like a sounding board, and then somebody that you're mentoring.
Oh,
and
that's
so
great.
You learn so much from a mentor you're asking questions to, from somebody you're just as a you know, a peer, your sounding board, you're figuring things out together, and then somebody that you're mentoring, you're teaching. And you learn so much as you're teaching,
Absolutely.
I feel. And so I think through those things, and then networking groups, I love going to networking groups. I love having a mastermind session with people who have been through challenges and been through things before, and just putting your issue out there and having a bunch of people brainstorm it with you. I feel like that is much better than trying to think, by yourself, what should I do?
Right.
Because if you make a mistake, it can be just detrimental to your business, or it can take you a lot of time and money to fix. So I try to always get as much information as possible about any sort of problem.
That's wonderful. And what advice, I guess, as being a mentor, just would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs now today?
I think it is. It's gathering that information. It's so readily accessible now. You can get not only just, there's thousands of books you could read, right?
Yeah.
But that's the one thing that I loved is I wasn't getting enough information in college.
Sure.
I just wasn't getting it fast enough.
Right.
And so I went out and I read every book that I could on entrepreneurship, on building a business, on marketing, on whatever it was. And I feel like that's a habit that I still do today, because it's so great to have this new information coming in, and it's everywhere. It's on the internet. It's on, subscribe to Forbes, subscribe to all these different things that are giving you these articles and this new information that's always changing, and stay up on it.
Yeah, no, that's great. It's so accessible now, it's just like you said, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's you're crazy not to, because it's so easy to find.
Exactly, but it's easy to get bogged down as well. It's easy to get bogged down in the business, but sometimes you have to remove yourself from the business. You have to set a time. Let's say it's Friday afternoon when things are mellowing out. Take 2 hours, remove yourself from the business, and then focus on you and making yourself and your own knowledge better.
That's so true. And I'm a huge follower of Gary Vaynerchuk, and like he says, there's only so many books or things that you can read, listen to, but then you get paralyzed. Like, just go out and do it. Like, stop being a student and do it.
And just go. I love that.
So I know that's one of my, one of the things that he says that sticks with me.
That's cool.
It's true. So do you feel it's good to visualize where you want to be in life? Like, has it helped for you? Do you do that?
That's one of the first book I read when I started kind of my entrepreneurial journey is Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
Right? That's all about the vision board. That's all about, putting out there an actual goal of a number. I want to make this much money in this much time, and hold yourself accountable to it.
Right.
Put a vision board up. These are the things that I want. You'll find that vision board changes,
Of course.
Once you get there, it's like, oh, you know what, maybe this wasn't as important to me. But it doesn't matter. All that matters is you have something that you're working towards, and you're holding yourself accountable.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. That's great. So if you could do anything as a career or be anywhere in the world doing something, what would you be doing? What would that be?
The latest thing that I've really liked, I love golf. And so I'm trying to figure out something now that incorporates golf into either a product line or a brand or something.
Yeah.
It's been a new idea, but
exciting.
But something that could be cool. I love the beauty of a golf course, all the different places that you can play it. It's a very challenging but individual game, which you're always working on yourself, which is fun.
That's true.
But the latest, I've really gotten into Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon is such a great platform to sell anything on.
Yeah.
And people are making millions and millions on Amazon every single day, and you can do it from anywhere. So that's something that I've been the last couple of years really looking into, and then started a company around doing that.
Fantastic. That's great. And like you said, you could be anywhere doing it,
which
is so great. So with that said, do you feel that there is a work-life balance being an entrepreneur? Do you think that even exists?
Yeah, that one's tough for me, because the first 5 years there was no balance. It was a lot of work and not much life.
Yeah.
That's how it was. But now, as I've gotten to certain levels, I've had to bring that back in. I've seen how important it is to bring that back in, but I still don't know how to achieve that. I still don't know, because when stuff has to be done, stuff has to be done.
Right.
And if you're trying to balance and you don't get that thing done, it can be horrible for your company. So I think it's a constant juggling act, and I think it's a constant thing that has to be worked on to give priority to family and to all the other important things, because they are important things, but still get what you need to do done.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely, it is hard to balance that.
I don't know how to do it.
I know. Well, like you said, it's always
a
constantly in your head,
It's a
you know?
constant
So
struggle.
wherever, like you said, you went camping, but you're probably thinking about it as
You're thinking about it.
know?
It follows you around.
It does.
Yeah.
So give me 3 words that best describe your journey to where you are today, if you can.
3 words. I think it's been a thrill. It's absolutely been a thrill. It's become an addiction now.
Sure.
Because it's almost like people say, I'm not a hunter, but people who hunt, you know, they get whatever buck fever, where they're like so excited about something, they just want to go back and they want to do it again and again and again. And I feel like it's the same in business for me. It's like become this fun, almost adrenaline sort of rush to figure out what the next thing is.
Cool.
And it's a challenge because you don't know where your next paycheck is coming from.
True.
So you're almost out there hunting for a paycheck.
Right.
Which
That's a good point.
pushes you. Gives you great motivation. And I think the last word would probably be, I've really relied on my network. I mean,
awesome.
networking has been a huge factor to any success that I've seen. It's been learning and having other people surrounding me that I've been able to gain connections from, or they've taught me certain things, and it's really reflects directly back on any success that I've seen.
That's so great. It's so neat that there's so many people out there willing to help entrepreneurs, or you know, they have a passion for what you're doing and they can see your vision. That says a lot. That's
the one thing that I realized pretty quickly is the entrepreneurial community and people who have made it are so willing to take somebody under their wing and say, hey, this is what I think you should do. Here's some advice.
Right.
And that's huge. I mean, people who are successful, they make time for people who are wanting to learn, who genuinely will come in and want to hear what they have to say.
That's so great.
It's just a cool community of entrepreneurs. And I think anywhere I've gone, it's been the same.
That's so great.
I think it's just something, when you do see some success, that you want to give that back, and you want to help people who are in your position.
I think so, because you've experienced it yourself, you know, and you know what those people are going through. So that's fantastic. So if you were to die today, not to be morbid or anything,
seriously.
But what would you want people to say about you?
I would want people to say that I was helpful, inspirational. I try to do a lot of these speaking engagements at colleges and high schools because I want those kids to realize that if I can do it, which, you know, was a goofy high school kid with this silly idea for lip balm, then anybody can do it. And it just takes, you know, a lot of work, and you put all the things that it takes together for somebody and give them a roadmap.
Yep.
And, you know, if I can help 1 or 2 kids turn their ideas from, I don't know if I can do this, to yes, I'm going to give it a shot, then it will have been successful. That's
so great. That's awesome. So do you have a personal mission statement?
I don't have a personal mission statement. Something I did that I think that helps me every single day is, you know, on your password you can set your computer, you can set a password to get into your computer.
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. So a little while ago I thought, normally I would just put some random password and something 123, right? And I started putting motivational statements in there.
That's fantastic.
Because I realized how many times I type that in every single day.
And
I started typing in things like, I will win, or I started typing in things, you know, that remind you and kind of subconsciously remind you every single day that you're just typing this in.
Right.
That it's kind of reaffirming that you're going to do this, or you're going to get this, or you're going to do this. And it just kind of is a fun thing that has helped me.
That's crazy that you said that, because not even knowing that I was doing that, I'm going to tell you my password, but I don't have it like that anymore, but was Paris. My dream was to move to Paris.
Very cool.
And I had one of my passwords as Paris.
Yeah.
And I think it was 9 months later, I did. So, and I'd heard somebody actually wrote a book, or maybe it was an article about that act of doing passwords as something that you really want to go after, or, you know, and it actually works. And I'm like, okay, I am actually, I get it. because it happened to me
I think
too.
it's that positive affirmation.
Yes.
It's that reminding yourself, and your mind is always going, whether you're sleeping, whether you're whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
And it's that constant affirmation of, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make this happen. I'm gonna go to Paris.
I
Whatever
love that.
it is.
Yeah.
It's that constant reminder.
That motivation, like you said, these phrases are great.
Yeah.
Great idea. I love it. All right, so something personal. We're gonna go on. So, do you have a favorite restaurant anywhere in the world that you would say that, or a place? Let's go with restaurant first.
Restaurant. There's this little place. I used to have a really great one, but then it closed because I love Italian food.
Okay.
And my wife and I went to this when we were dating. We found this cute little place, little hole in the wall place it was called Little Italy. And there were authentic Italian people, Italian chefs, Italian everybody. It was a family. And they had the best food ever. And then just recently, a couple years ago, they moved back to Italy.
Oh, wow.
They left and went back to Italy. So the place closed. It was genuinely my favorite place because it was so authentic. But I love anything that's like that.
Yeah.
But the authenticity is just top notch. Not the chain type places that lose a lot of that.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Do you have a favorite vacation spot?
Yes, I love, and we're going back. We're going anywhere in like the Virgin Islands, like U.S. Virgin Islands.
Awesome.
I love tropical.
Okay.
I love just relaxing and sitting on a beach. And we're going in a couple of weeks back to St. Croix.
Nice.
And St. Croix is incredible.
I've never been. I want to go.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's so great. And last question, Mr. Kiss Sticks.
Yeah.
What is your favorite flavor, flavor of Kiss Sticks?
Well, the very best one, and the one that's like the most experiential, is the fire and ice.
Oh, really?
It actually heats up and cools down. So you've got this
hot
and you've got this cold sensation. When they come together, it's kind of this crazy tingling all over your lips.
That's awesome.
It's the best one for kissing, for sure.
You guys got to get the fire and ice Kiss Sticks.
It's a good one.
Awesome. Dallas, thank you so much. This is so great. Appreciate it.
Thank
you guys, thanks for listening. This is Their Stories Told, and tune back in. Thank you. Awesome. You're awesome. Thank you.